beautiful people. My name is Emma.
And I'm MC.
And we are the hosts. Oh my gosh. And we're the G-Forces podcast. Why am I don't know.
We are the hosts of the GForces podcast. That's what you normally
say.
Okay.
Well, I've been getting really tripped up with our intro recently. I just feel like I don't know what's going on. It's been a crazy day.
Yeah. It's rainy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Don't drink and drive. Very bad.
Anyways.
We're being serious about that.
Yes.
Anyways. This was the weekend of the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah.
It was a crazy one.
Crazy. The Drivers' Championship is heating up. Changed.
Sadly.
Yeah. We are Oscar fans. But Emma,
which is crazy. If you had listened to me 2 years ago, I was like, Lando!
Yeah. But, we all grow.
We do.
But yeah, it was good overall. I feel like the race itself was really exciting. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I feel like the rest of the weekend was pretty typical sleepy weekend.
Yeah, I'd say so. There are some teams that had some great results, some teams that had a really unfortunate weekends.
Yeah.
Overall, pretty good. There was a lot more retirements this weekend, too, than usual.
Yeah, we haven't seen this many retirements in quite a while. And then some teams, like Emma said, really surprised and shocked in good ways and some in bad ways.
John Surtees's championship win that we talked about in the last episode was also mentioned this weekend. We're doing really good about somehow knowing what they're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's our psychic abilities.
Or maybe we just do a lot of research.
Yeah, I mean...
And we're on the same wavelength.
We're always on the same, yeah.
We're thinking the same things.
Yeah.
We could be F1 reporters.
Yeah, F1 TV. Which I guess will be Apple TV eventually.
I don't really know how that change is working.
Yeah, I'll probably get an email.
I think you already did.
Oh, I'll look in my emails.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
We'll work on that.
We'll figure that one out. Okay, since it was a crazy race, we're just going to get right into it.
It's funny. I feel like a lot of people typically call this, like, the Mexico Grand Prix, but it is technically the Mexico City Grand Prix. I
think it's because people say it's the only race in the country of Mexico.
Yeah. But it was just funny because I noticed the pundits kept correcting themselves because I feel like they wanted to say just like Mexico. But anyways, the official race name was the Formula 1 Gran Premio de la Ciudad de Mexico 2025. So the track name is the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, as we spoke about in our last episode. We spoke about one half of the Hermanos Rodriguez, and if you want to listen about the other brother, there was two brothers that were racers, go back to, I think, like 2 Mexico Grand Prix ago.
I'll try to remember to link it somewhere.
So, the first Grand Prix was held in 1962. It was technically the first one, but it was a non-championship race. F1 would come back the following year in 1963, and that was the first race that started counting for points. It actually moved around a little bit. So, it stayed on the calendar until 1970, and then F1 returned it to the calendar in 1986, but then left again in 92. And then the race finally rejoined again in 2015. So, I feel like you mentioned, like,
I think I kind of said that,
when we were talking about Checo around the drama with it in the 2010s.
I feel like they talked something about, like, the pollution in Mexico City.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Like, it was something with the smog.
I'm not sure.
But one thing to note is that this is a much more high elevation track, which impacts the tires, which impacts the drivers in general and their breathing ability.
Yeah, I think it is the highest altitude race of the calendar. And
how high is it really?
So they were doing on, I think, motorsport.com or F1's Instagram, did a comparison of, like, one of the tallest buildings in the world that's in, like, Qatar, like one of those cities.
Khalifa?
Yeah. And I think they said it's 2 stacked on top of each other.
Oh.
That's how high up. But I could be completely wrong. So please use your minds and critical thinking and go look it up yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways.
Yeah. There are 17 turns on this track, and the circuit length is 4.304 kilometers or 2.67 miles. So they're going to do 71 laps around this circuit, which I always forget how many laps there are, and I was cooking at the beginning of the race, and
it's
watching
like
it at the same time.
It's a shorter track, if not the shortest track. No, Monaco's the shortest.
Monaco's the shortest. But Emma was like, we got to lap 45, and I was like, oh my god, we're like just barely halfway done.
Yeah, it was an hour in, and we were only at like lap 43.
Yeah. So the total race distance that they're doing around the track is 305.584 kilometers, or 189.88 miles. So the lap record, which is still in place, was placed in 2021 by Valtteri Bottas. He did it in a Mercedes, and he did that lap in 1 minute and 17.774 seconds. It wasn't broken this year, but the fastest lap in 2025 for our Grand Prix was done by George Russell, obviously in his Mercedes, and he did it in 1 minute and 20.052 seconds. So 3 seconds, a little less off. You can just see probably weather, cars, yeah. The DRS detection zones, there are technically 2 detection zones, but there's 3 activation zones. So DRS detection zone 1 is between turns 9 and 10, and activation is between turns 11 and 12. DRS detection zone 2 is between turns 14 and 15, with activation in that typical start-finish straight between turns 17 and 1. And then that final DRS activation section is between turns 3 and 4 in that additional long straight on the track. So that is where we are at.
Awesome. Let's get into practice.
We saw a lot of different faces in FP1.
For the most part, we've seen them all before.
Yeah, but like they weren't our typical drivers.
Yeah.
There were 9 rookies in FP1. Mexico, I feel like every year we watch is kind of like a top choice for the rookie sessions. So I'm going to go through who everyone was and whose car they were in. So Arvid Lindblad was in a Red Bull. He was in Max Verstappen's Red Bull. Max was photographed on the pit wall, and the pundits and like F1 was losing their mind about it, and they were just being very like, look at Max and his engineering moments, and it's like, okay. Pato O'Ward was in Lando Norris's McLaren. Frederick Vesti was in George Russell's Mercedes. Paul Aaron was in Pierre Gasly's Alpine. Paul Aaron is a name that is being rumbled around with Franco Colapinto for that second Alpine seat.
I don't trust them. Alpine needs to stop fucking around with these drivers' careers and emotions.
Justice for Jack Doohan.
Truly.
Ryo Hirakawa was in Ollie Behrman's Haas. Ayumu Iwasa was in Liam Lawson's Racing Bull. Luke Browning was in Carlos Sainz's Williams. Jack Crawford was in Lance Stroll's Aston Martin. And Antonio Fuoco was... Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
I don't know if I spelled it right. He's the only one I
don't know.
Was in Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari. I'm sorry, Antonio, if I said your last name wrong.
The guy who drove for Aston Martin, Jack something?
Jack Crawford.
Didn't he used to be a part of the McLaren Academy?
I can't say off the top of my head.
I think there was a guy who was a part of the McLaren Academy and then left recently. Or it was Williams, and I can't remember.
I feel like it was Williams.
I mean, Luke Browning's been a part of the Williams Academy for a while.
I don't know if they have any relation. We'll have to look into it. Or not.
I feel like it was a Zach, Z-A-K. Or is that how Zach is
spelled?
Jack
Crawford?
Maybe it was a Zach.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways, so with so many rookies on the grid, really not much happened. The drivers that were on the grid complained about traffic. Rookies.
Well, half the grid is rookies. What do you want?
Rookies really just did their session and no drama happened, which is always good to see, especially when they're driving strangers. Well, not strangers, but like, I guess, important people's cars. So the top 3 times for FP1 was Charles, Kimi, and Nico. So FP2, Kimi had a few issues with his car, having to go into the pits a few times. He had to get in and out of his car, so it kind of cut into his time. But he was still able to get top of the charts. Other than that, again, just another practice session. Max had the top time, Charles was in second, and Kimi was in third. FP3, the same day of quali, was really just like a lot of people sliding all over the place. The track is pretty quick to evolve, and you'll see this in quali, but a lot of drivers, I think George and Lewis, were complaining about rears or sliding and lack of grip. So the top times for FP3 were Lando, Lewis, and George. So that is practice. It's end of the season sleepy practice where they just run their thing and call it a day. So.
Just trying to make sure that things are feeling correct.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's get into quali now. Quali!
So for Q1, Aston Martin was quick to get onto the grid. I think they were the first 2 drivers out.
Justice for Fernando, just in general. Yes. That's all I have to say.
As I said right before, the track was evolving, and this really caused the time charts to continuously change. Ollie was already starting to show a pretty good performance early on. Isaac had a really amazing lap topping the charts this session, which was nice to see. Liam had a really good lap as well. I feel like Racing Bulls sometimes has surprisingly strong weekends.
It happens every once in a while, and it's random, but they're dominant when it does.
Yeah, but I don't think their race was great, but that's okay. So knocked out of the session was Gabby Bortoletto, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, and Franco Colapinto. The Alpines were slow as usual. Shit. It was insane. Pierre did another fast lap and just didn't improve. And then Alex just, the Williams, I don't know if they were expected to do better. I can't remember. But I think I was shocked at how, everything fell apart.
I feel like it's the part of the season where Williams is duct taping their shit in their car. And you can tell with their performance.
Yeah.
But also, in the race, Alex literally made a comment to his engineer and was like, I've never had such a bad strategy before in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I just think it's...
growing pains.
Yeah.
So, moving on to Q2, Oscar was struggling.
He was struggling the whole weekend.
And apparently, I think they made mention of it, and his engineer made mention of it as well. I think he actually said something to his engineer, but there was showing indications of power unit issues, which obviously I can't remember how many, if he's hit his allotted.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I don't know it off the top of my head either. And so, obviously at this point in the season, and with the Drivers' Championship in peril, you don't want to mess around with your car if you don't have to.
No.
The penalty that you would get would just not be worth it. And so obviously there's that concern around Oscar and his car. Both Haas's were looking to make it into Q3, but unfortunately a slew of fast laps came in and bumped Esteban out, but luckily Ollie was still able to move on as he had gotten the 10th fastest time. So knocked out of Q2 was Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, and Liam Lawson. So moving on to Q3, Max put up the first time, but this was quickly bumped when the rest of the drivers put in their times, again showing that track evolution, just showing how the times are, no matter what the car is, showing how the times are constantly improving. And Lando came out on top during the session. As everyone did their final fast lap, Oscar went out pretty early, and I remember me and Emma kind of commenting on it and confused as to why McLaren set him out so early.
It's they set him up to fail because the track evolution was so crazy that you wanted to be the last person on the track.
Well, and I wonder too sometimes if there's just they not panicked, but they were just too hasty.
Maybe, but sometimes it's Okay, do you remember Williams last year where they were sending out the drivers in the in-between phases of quali and so that they could get a lap in without so much traffic? I wonder if, like, that's what they were thinking, but, like...
Well, yeah, for the clean air.
You've got 10 car... Like...
Yeah.
The track evolution is more important than that.
Yeah. Carlos had a good run, but was handed a 5-place grid penalty for an earlier incident, what was the...
It was from the week before. I can't remember what... maybe passing somebody on the track or something?
It was something... He was not happy about it.
It was some
bullshit from the FIA. So...
Which does not end this weekend. There's a lot of bullshit this weekend. His
placement is where his time was, but then he ended up getting bumped down to 12th on the grid, so... These were the 10 times ranked. So Lando was first, Charles was second, Lewis was third, George was fourth, Max was fifth, Kimi was sixth, Carlos was seventh, Oscar, who did that fast time, got all the way knocked down to 8th, Isaac was 9th, and Ollie was 10th. I think for me personally, one, just kind of shocked, but not surprised at Oscar's performance. I feel like he's been struggling a little bit. But then I also think I was surprised where Max fell.
What was he again?
5th.
I'm not too surprised by that. When the Ferraris have a good weekend, they both have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And I feel like Lewis has gotten way more consistent with the car and the performance. When it comes to Oscar, I looked up his results for the second half of the season last year. And it does seem like the last 10 races of the season are not his forte.
Okay.
At least last year, they weren't his best performances.
Interesting.
So, like, I think in Brazil, it's hard for me to count Brazil last year because it was raining so hard. So, like, people were just trying to not die last year. So, I don't think he did that well there. And then Qatar... There was one race where he ended up, like, in the top 5 or something. But, like, I think the last few races of the year last year, like, he was lucky. He was, like, 8th or something. Like, a lot of them. Like, it wasn't great results for him.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if that just... Maybe these are tracks that Lando is a lot stronger on. And that, like... Maybe, like, the first few races of the year, Lando's strong in, and then, like, the middle section of the year is Oscar's strong suit, and then the second, like, half of the year, like, the last few races is Lando's strong suit.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the difference between Lando and Oscar is that Lando was performing better on his worst tracks than Oscar currently is.
Yeah. But that's quali.
All right, we're going to get into the race now. The first turn of this race is a good chunk down, and it's always a little crazy. 2 years ago or last year, we saw Checo just go straight into the barrier.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy. And this year, for some reason, they decided, let's go 4 wide into the first turn.
They said, it's the last of the races,
Let's go crazy.
Let's just... we don't need these cars
for next year. Who knows who the championship is going to? Let's make it interesting.
Yeah.
And so Max goes completely off track and cuts off to the side. Luckily, didn't go into the barrier like Checo did, but I think he took basically the same line that Checo did a couple years ago.
Yeah, he went through the grass.
Yeah. And he was, like, complaining, like, I got squeezed. Bro, you were never going to make it in the spot that you were.
Yeah.
Like, no one has ever made it from that line. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. And then Charles eventually goes off track and also cuts.
Yeah.
Everyone just decided to say, fuck it, today. Charles had to get the position back to Lando because Lando was in first and Charles had cut in front of him because he went off track. Now Lando was in the lead. Oscar's start was, he had a good initial start, but then he got stuck in, like, the hairiness of the first turn.
So when all the drama happened with the first turn, Max goes off, quite a bit of dirt was kicked up onto the track. When you watch Oscar in that first turn, you see him slide around a lot because he picked up all the dirt and lost the grip for the tires.
From Max.
So I think basically, luckily he didn't, like, get hit into due to this 4-car cross, but he did like suffer the negative effects of them going into the grass.
Yeah, so he started P8 and then he dropped down to P11, but then he pretty quickly recovered back to P9. I don't know how, but he did within that first lap.
Yeah.
Ollie had a great start going from P10 all the way up to P6. And this was the beginning of, okay, Ollie's about to have a great race.
Yeah.
Lando, Charles, and Lewis, they were all in the same positions that they had started in. And then Liam Lawson all of a sudden is in the pit. We're not sure why he was there so early. And then he got a front nose change after that contact that he had run into in the first lap. And then there was a yellow flag at lap 3. And we realized it was just because of debris at turn 1. Because it just came on yellow flag, and I was like, why is there a yellow flag? Who's crashed?
And we like to see if whose name in the time tower
has
drops.
Yuki, it's really funny when I take notes in the middle of a race on my laptop because my autocorrect happens. So I meant to write Yuki is feeling heat from Piastri, but it autocorrected to Yuki is feeling heat from pastry. From pastry.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Oscar was just trying to work his way up now, and the first person to do that with was Yuki.
Yeah.
It looks like one of the Williams, I think it was Alex, hit Liam Lawson at the start, which is why Liam had gone back into the garage to get a new nose change. And now we have two rivals battling. Lewis and Max were going head to head, and Max ended up coming out victorious. Max passed Lewis.
It was definitely tense.
But then Lewis actually goes back in front to third place, and they were just like going back and forth. Lewis ends up going off track and stays in front of Max. It looks like Max also went off track. This is a pivotal moment in the race because we later find out that Lewis Hamilton got a 10-second time penalty for going off track because of this interaction. Yet Max also went off track and didn't get one.
Yeah.
So make that make sense.
Well, I wonder if it's the whole race incident first lap bullshit.
Yeah, but this is many laps in.
No, but Max's was a first lap race incident. And
no, Max also went off track in this incident.
Oh, never mind. I will get off my soapbox.
Yeah, I was like, it's not the first lap.
Yeah.
Ollie's battling with Max now, side by side, and passes him for fourth. That was very exciting.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And afterwards, in the post-race interview, he was like, I've always dreamed about battling Max and didn't think that it would get to happen anytime soon. And to be able to do it now was like, it was so much fun. But he was like, I was also scared.
That's what he was like, I was very scared.
Yeah. George was also in the fight between Ollie and Max. I think he was just really behind, to be honest, but he was there, apparently. Lap 8, Oscar is still trying to pass Yuki. There was a lot of times where Oscar's just trying to pass Yuki throughout this race, because when he got tires, he came back out, and then he was behind Yuki.
But Yuki's always been notoriously, like, difficult and aggressive to pass.
Notoriously, yes. This year, I don't think so.
Maybe he had a little bit of...
I think this year he doesn't feel comfortable in the car.
No.
I think if he were in a racing bull, he'd be much better.
Yeah.
Okay. Lap 9, Liam Lawson retires.
Yeah. It just happened.
Still don't really know why.
Yeah, we need to look further into it.
Yeah, I didn't really look into it. I just wrote this down during the actual race. Lap 11, Oscar ends up passing Yuki finally again. No, he hadn't passed him yet, but he finally did it. Ocon is now trying to pass. Oh my gosh, is now trying to pass Yuki as well. And this is like lap 12ish. He's in DRS range. Yuki was just getting passed quite a lot this race, which is depressing. Esteban was complaining about something on lap 14. I don't know what it was. It was just him complaining.
Yeah.
Because I remember being like, did you hear what he said?
And you
were like, oh, he was just complaining. So just in case you cared, he was complaining. This is when we find out the 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining advantage, which was kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Ollie's starting to get encouragement from his race engineer, being like, "You could get a penalty." Not that you
could do it.
Not that he could get a penalty, that he could get a podium because of Lewis's penalty. Because of where Lewis was, I think Lewis was in third at this point. Ollie was in fourth. And with the 10-second time penalty, that means Ollie was technically in third.
Yeah.
And so they were like, if you have a perfect race, you could get third. But that also means everybody else has to not have a perfect race.
Yeah. Fun fact, Haas has never podiumed.
Yeah, I learned that this weekend.
Yeah.
Very depressing, actually.
The closest they've ever gotten is fourth place, and I think 2018 by Roman Grosjean.
Yeah, and now this.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Where was I? Yes, Ollie's getting encouragement. Not that he's going to get a penalty, but he could get a podium. Lap 18, Lando is 7.4 seconds ahead of second place Charles. This was just the beginning of this gap. It just got so much bigger. Lap 18, Carlos goes in for new tires. He ends up getting softs. Oscar's now chasing George at lap 20. He's in DRS range. Again, Oscar's just trying to work his way up, and I think that George was in like 6th at this point. That sounds correct to me. Lap 23, Antonelli goes into the pit. Behrman is closing in on Hamilton, which is crazy. A Haas closing in on a Ferrari, and they have the same power units.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Ferrari's gonna be like, "What'd you do?
Yeah.
How'd you do it?" Hamilton did make a mistake, it looks like, and he ended up like dropping down. He was called into the pits for tires to change, and to save to serve the penalty. I can't talk today.
So depressing.
It is depressing when you watch someone have to serve a penalty in the pit. 10 seconds just standing there.
It's the longest 10 seconds.
Yeah, who knew it could feel that long?
Yeah.
And so he dropped from third place
to
all the way down to 14th. Cruelty.
Yeah, but alas.
I know. A lot of people also just pitted. So at this point, I actually had to go outside to take my dog outside because he was freaking out, and I didn't take my laptop with me. No, I went upstairs to get dressed. That's what it was. I was in a robe. I needed to put clothes on, and I wasn't watching, so I ran upstairs to get changed, and I missed a bunch of things. A lot of people pitted. I believe it was Oscar, Ollie, George, and more. That's all I know.
A bunch of people pitted because Emma came down and the time tower was completely different.
And I was like, what happened?
And
What's going on?
I was like, I think a bunch of people pitted.
And I was like, who? And she was like, I don't know.
I was like, too many things happened.
Yeah, apparently I can't even go get dressed for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Another bad autocorrect. Carlos autocorrected to colors. That was funnier to me. Colors just got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. There was something wrong with Carlos's car, and yet he could not slow down in the pit lane, and so he just kept getting these 5-second time penalties.
Yeah, there's like a monitor, I think, that like there's something in the car that knows that it can't go over like the speed limit in the pit, and it kept going over.
Yeah, and I don't think he knows what the speed limit is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which I feel like it should just be a basic speed all over, all 10, year, the same place.
Yeah, anyways.
It's not 10, it's like 40 miles an hour in the pit lane.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It is. I'm pretty sure it's 40.
Okay.
Okay. Back to my... okay, lap 28, devastatingly. Hulkenberg DNFs.
Yep.
Don't know why.
Yeah, a few of the DNFs this race, because I think there was so much happening everywhere.
We had no idea why the DNFs happened.
There was just like certain people that they really didn't elaborate on.
The next DNF also have no idea what happened. Yeah. Ocon pits in lap 28, and then Ollie passes Isaac because Ollie had gone in to pit, so now he has to pass a bunch of people again.
Who haven't pitted.
Yeah. Carlos is complaining of some jumping in the pit lane, which likely caused his pit lane speeding. So, like, if you watch his car, it's almost like it's, like, jumping up, like, bouncing up and down.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Which we've seen that happen before with cars, like, a couple years ago when they did one of the regulation changes. But that it doesn't typically happen in, like, just because they're in the pit lane. It was very strange. Oscar passes Bortoleto and Hadjar, so now he's in 8th by lap 31. And remember, he's already gone into pit. Oscar, oh my gosh, I jumped. Lap 32, Charles goes in to pit. I don't know why it wrote pit man. Oscar finally catches Yuki again.
I'm trying to think what Pitman is in reference to.
I don't know what I referenced at all. Oscar finally caught Yuki. Hamilton passed Yuki. A lot of passing Yuki.
Yeah.
Lap 36. Another devastating moment. Fernando retires. No idea
clue.
why. So apparently on his radio, people said that you could overhear his race engineer being like, "We need you to give up the position to Stroll." And people were joking around being like, instead of giving up the position, he said, "Fuck it, I'm retiring."
I doubt that.
I'm hoping next year with Adrian Newey, it's going to be better.
I pray to God that Adrian Newey is working on some magic carpet of a freaking
I want to see Fernando win it all.
Yeah, I want to see him in like peak Gremlin.
Yeah.
So.
I forget that man's like 40-something.
Yeah, he's amazing.
For some reason, I keep thinking he's like 38.
He's amazing. I love him. He's crazy.
Lap 37, I wrote that Ollie needs to manage his tires because he's starting to drop back a bit from Charles. I just felt like he was kind of blowing through them a little bit because I also did not think that they were going to be stopping another time.
Yeah.
Throughout the race. I thought it was just a one stop. And so I was like, bruh, you got like half the race left. You got to chill.
Yeah. It was a one stop for some, but not Ollie.
For most, it was a one stop.
Yeah.
I would say. I think there was like 5 or 6 people. It was a 2-stop. Lap 38, Max finally comes into the pits and he's going on to the soft tires. Max comes out in 8th place. Oscar's only 0.4 from George. George is wanting to pass Kimmy, and Kimmy is trying to pass Ollie. Wait, hold on. I wrote that all weird. That made no sense. I think it was,
Lewis is...
Yes, Oscar's only 0.4 from George. George wants to pass Kimmy, and Kimmy wants to pass Ollie.
Yeah.
I thought I was reading that as Ollie was only 0.4 from George. No. Maybe I read that. Who knows? That makes sense.
Yeah.
George was really saying a lot.
George threw a bitch fit. And
I literally wrote, George is crashing out to his engineer.
Everyone is making fun of it. Sorry, George. That's just the way the cookie crumbles some weekends. I saw an entire TikTok edit of someone putting his entire radio rant to classical music.
I saw the same thing.
Shout out to you that did that. It's great. It's fantastic. It's so funny. But that man was like speaking like he was trying to rally troops in like a battle. Where he was just ranting and like, if we do this, we can execute this and possibly get a podium. But if I'm not able to, then we'll switch the spots and Kimmy, like, attempt needs to be made. And it's like...
And then when his race engineer starts talking to him, he then yells at him because he's talking to him because he's like, I have a McLaren up my ass!
Yeah. It was like, George...
He just wanted to pass Kimmy so that he could show that he's faster than Kimmy. And he bitched enough. And it eventually happened, which we'll get there.
His way happened, but it didn't really go his way.
Kimmy was finally told to switch positions lap 41. He listens to it, but Oscar's right there. Like, truly, I'm sitting there, I'm like, y'all are stupid. Like, Oscar could so easily squeeze in right now. He didn't.
And I don't think... Like, I just don't know what his thinking was. Like, why would you put Kimmy to the slaughter?
Because they were hoping that George would get up to Ollie.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
He did not.
Well, he did-ish, but he didn't. We'll get there. Lando's race engineer now asks him what tire he prefers for the other side of the garage. because Oscar might make a second stop. This is a very controversial thing that's happening.
A lot of people, I feel like.
People are like, your rivals right now in the championship don't give each other advice.
I think, I said this to Emma, I wonder if McLaren is trying to, like, rewrite the culture around the competing teammates. Like, if they're really trying to drive the point home of, like, we're one team, one family, it's like, I don't know if they say one family. I don't want to use that language, but they're definitely one team. And I agree. I think it's some inter-company rivalry competition. Like, make it fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, make it where you're really pushing your engineers and the people, your mechanics, to a point of, like, you know, one, you might not ever get this opportunity again, but two, like, push them. Like, and literally the one catchphrase I feel like that, you know, so many of them push home is that, like, your biggest competition is your teammate. And
well, now you don't need to worry about the constructors because you already have it, McLaren, so let them fucking fight.
Yeah, I think I'm just like, why wouldn't you want to, like, use the skills and the knowledge and, like, the idea of, like, healthy competition?
All
like,
of these race engineers and these strategists are highly educated and experienced people. Like,
yeah,
I don't think that they need to ask the driver for input necessarily to give the best choice every time.
Maybe on feel, like, I would understand, but I just, like,
I think that I think they're literally paid to be able to make the call without all the input.
I don't understand why they're not having, like, a bigger rivalry. Why they're I don't know the narrative they're trying. I'm over it. Like, it just, everything feels very, like, not.
It feels like they don't care that there's a championship, weirdly.
Yeah, it's the most, like, underwhelming. Like, it's
not the vibe.
Yeah, it's like the most vanilla championship.
I know.
Like, now that Max is coming in, it's, like, making it exciting. But I feel like this is
I want Max to win it all now.
I feel like this is just the friendliest, like
I don't like the friendship.
Yeah. I think we're, like, the people want
drama
and competition.
I want the competition on the track.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oscar's told to box to cover off Antonelli at lap 47. At this point, I was like, we're boxing?
Yeah.
Is Oscar the only one boxing? This is crazy.
Emma was not happy with the call.
It benefited him in the end.
It did.
I think, maybe. We'll see.
We'll go with that.
Lap 48, Kimi, Piastri, and Hamilton all go into the pit as well. And so this is, like, really vital that Oscar comes out first. Oscar does come out first. Lap 49, George and Ollie both go into the pit. Ollie comes out ahead, which is vital for Ollie. Ocon gets into a fight with Oscar, and I was like, what? And then I think Oscar passed him. Kimi gets past Ocon as well. Lap 50, I don't know why I wrote lap 50. I think that all happened at lap 50. Lap 53, Alex is told to let Carlos pass. Mm-hmm. And this is when you get the comment from Alex of, like, this is the worst strategy I've ever had.
Yeah. And I think it's just the typical, like, not typical, but I think it's just, like, an understandable emotional reaction to being told, like, let your teammate go ahead of you.
Yeah. George is now 0.7 behind Ollie. But George is about 1.4 seconds from Ollie, and Oscar is about 1.5 seconds from George, lap 56. So George drops back a bit. Carlos gets served a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane again. I hated that. Lap 58, Max was 7 seconds behind Charles. Lap 60, Max is only 5 seconds behind Charles. I really thought this guy was going to catch him.
It was impressive. Like, it was just, it was Max old, it felt like.
Yeah. Lap 60, Oscar has a ballsy move and passes George for 5th. It was a really tight move, but it was great. Yeah. Lap 63, Gabby passes Isaac for 10th. George passes, gives the spot back to Kimi because they were like, Kimi was like, are you going to give me my spot back? You couldn't do it. Give it back now.
Kimi was very funny on the radio.
Lap 64, Yuki passes Isaac for 11th and is hopefully going to try to pass Gabby. He doesn't, I don't believe. Lap 70, there's a yellow flag. Carlos had pulled over into one of the exit areas.
So this is
we'll discuss that in the final thoughts. Max and Charles were only 0.3 seconds away from each other, and Oscar was also getting closer to Ollie. And a VSC is deployed to neutralize the race as the last lap starts.
Now
it's like halfway through the second to last lap, and then the VSC ends partially through the last lap, and you have like one turn left, and the race was over. So the race will just
no. I know, but I just want to make one more comment. So basically, if Oscar needed 4th place to stay in the lead. So that's one note. Oscar needed 4th place. But the other thing is that like we were about to have 2 massive battles commence.
Yeah.
And we'll get to thoughts in our final thoughts.
Just quickly, the top few positions. P1 was Lando, P2 Charles, P3 Max, P4 Ollie, P5 Oscar, P6 Kimmy, P7 George, P8 Lewis, P9 Esteban, and then P10 Gabby. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. But
how many DNFs?
4. 4 DNFs.
Just read those quick.
That was Carlos, because he DNF'd at the end. Fernando, Nico, and Liam.
Cool.
All right, final thoughts. What should we discuss first?
Whatever you want.
Do you want to discuss the penalties? Let's discuss the Carlos pullover. So when we were watching the race, it was very confusing why he pulled over. Like, we didn't know what was wrong. We couldn't see the car actually where it was positioned on the track. Nothing made sense. And when they deployed the VSC, F1 TV was like, this is a little aggressive considering we can't even see the car on the track, like on our TV, and we have good views of the whole track.
The James Hinchcliffe at the end in the post-race show kind of made mention to the fact that they have a camera on every single aspect of the racing line. And it was the first time since we've started watching, so now this is our 2nd full season, but we're 2.5 seasons in, so we've only been watching for like 2.5 years. But I'd never seen a moment where they can't find the car with the cameras.
It was so weird.
So we're not seeing like the physical car. We don't know if there's damage. We don't know what's going on. And apparently it pulled off. Now, I didn't watch the TikTok you sent me this morning. Showing and explaining more.
He did pull off over by one of the there's like little partial areas where like that's where the marshals will but it's like a runoff where like it's got a gate where the marshals can like take the car off the track. So he pulled off there. The car he was like still partially on the track though, so like that was a problem. Like it wasn't like he was so far behind the barrier that like it was okay. Like the car was still just like on the track. So that was a problem number 1. That's the reason why the VSC was deployed. The car was smoking.
Okay.
And it was because it was like actually still on the track.
Yeah. I think obviously in a sport that has had drama and conspiracies that have come true and, corruption in this sport before, I think the internet is really running with like the conspiracies of, the FIA getting involved and changing up the leader. I don't think that was
I think they were also taking extra precautions because literal marshals were running on the track in front of Liam Lawson's car earlier in the race.
Yeah, that was something that came out like after the fact, kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I think that they were like, we got to be extra cautious.
Yeah. So,
which I don't blame them. Yeah, it sucked when it happened right when a bunch of the action was happening at the end, but like, to be honest, there's a chance that this could happen every race.
And that's what the pundits kind of alluded to, is that the FIA knows a lot more than we do. Obviously, we want to see, battles and fight outs at the end.
And it's better for the FIA for there to be battles and stuff at the end because people will watch that more.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think the conspiracy theories are going to run wild and you're going to have a lot of chatter around it, but I think safety at the end of the day is something that we're all pushing for in the sport. So
I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah. So,
Lewis Hamilton's penalties. His penalty, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset.
Especially because Max didn't get one.
I feel like it's going to be something that he's asked about, and we're going to get the typical sullen,
He already has been. And he was like, well, it's bullshit because Max didn't get one. Which, I agree. If both of you guys went off track, you should have gotten a penalty then.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not the first time we've seen Max not receive
the same penalty that other people have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I really want to mention is the championship.
Yeah.
Lando is now 1 point ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No, 2 things. Okay. Yeah, 1 point ahead. Very sad for Oscar.
Yeah, so like I said before, the Drivers' Championship, if Oscar had come in 4th, he would be 1 point ahead. But because he came in 5th, he's now 1 point behind. Obviously, we still have 4 rounds. It's anyone's game still. I don't remember how many points Max is behind them.
I think Oscar would have to literally DNF the next race,
or not get the points
to pass.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously upsetting for people that are fans of Oscar. I'm sure the Lando fandom is super duper happy. At the end of the day, I just kind of want a McLaren to win. I think it would be really cool for Oscar because I think he would be the 3rd Australian, I think. Something crazy like that to win.
I think so. Yes. I also, I'll take it back. Okay, guys, I really come to the realization that I didn't hate Max Verstappen. I just typically don't like who's winning unless it's Oscar.
Yeah.
There's some kind of energy about the person who's winning where I'm like, you're not my vibe right now. I'm not liking it. And so I wasn't a huge fan of Max Verstappen when he was winning because it was pissing me off.
Maybe this is just Max and fatherhood, and we're getting
it could be. But I also think that if Max were to just somehow win the championship right now, truly for me, it
would be crazy.
It would be insane. It would go down in legends.
Yeah, it would be a season ender that people would be talking about in 50 years. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm like, damn, if he pulls it off, props to him, man.
He really is amazing.
He really, this is what it took to prove to me.
This proved it. Anyway.
Not the 3 other championships before this.
Yeah.
Last thing is Ollie Behrman.
Yes. Ollie ended up coming in 4th. Like I said, it is the best showing in place in tie with the Romain Grosjean 4th place. Obviously, wish it was a podium, but I think
it's okay.
It's okay. But
he was crying, his girlfriend was crying,
his dad was crying.
I'm really happy for him because at the beginning of the season, I feel like there was a lot of people that were really harsh towards him. People were really mean, saying that he didn't deserve a spot, that
his dad
he was washed and everything else, that he just got lucky with that race in Ferrari. I'm so happy that he had this race because he has had some insane drives this season. He typically is starting at P20 and he'll somehow still end up in the points.
Yeah, I think he's shown how good of a driver he is.
That he can move.
Yeah, I think he's a rookie that's kind of overlooked a lot.
Just because
he's in Haas. I also think for Haas, this is really exciting.
And Esteban was in the points too.
With, these 2 drivers that they're both coming back next year. I think, right? They're both confirmed for next year. Yeah. And I think this is also just really good for Io and the team.
This also feels like the most chill Esteban Ocon has ever been.
Yeah, he's been
quiet this year. I feel like normally we're hearing him yelling and crashing and this is the first teammate that I think he's ever had that he's not crashing into all the time.
Yeah, I feel like all the rookies seem to be very,
chill with a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with this weekend.
It was
mean,
good.
except for the Oscar part, but everything else was great. I think I needed this.
Yeah. We've got Brazil in 2 weeks.
Which is always unpredictable. Could be rainy.
Yes.
It is. Brazil has a rainforest, in case you didn't remember.
It's the home race for Gabby Bortoleto.
And it's the first time in a while that we've had a Brazilian driver. So this is exciting.
It's exciting. I'm excited to see how the fans are with,
they've been treating Lewis like he's a Brazilian driver.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how it feels, I'm always happy when someone gets to drive like in their own backyard or in their home country.
So I hope Gabby does well. And then I also hope Lewis does well because it's like a second home for him.
Yeah, he needs it.
I think that he deserved it this weekend, but then he just got the shit out of the stick.
Yeah.
So I think it would be good if he had a podium with Ferrari this weekend in Brazil.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And after Brazil, it's Vegas. No, it's Qatar.
No, I think it's Vegas.
I think it's Qatar and then Vegas and then they go to Abu Dhabi. Because it makes no sense that they go back and forth and back and forth. That they change hemispheres.
Okay. I'm not sure. I thought it was Vegas, but
they don't change hemispheres.
Why don't you
Eastern hemisphere? Is that a thing? Western?
Yes.
Yes, they change hemispheres.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that geographically.
Anyways, I think that's all for today. We are both very hungry, so we're going to go eat dinner. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, follow us, and that's it. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.